All right, let's talk about something millions of us do every winter. It's a habit we think is helping our homes, but it's actually causing some serious damage and wasting a ton of money. Let's get right into it.
Yep, I bet this looks familiar. The classic tilted window. I mean, it seems like a smart idea, right? You get a little fresh air in without making the whole room freezing cold. A totally harmless habit, or so you think. But what if I told you that this simple little act is actually the root cause of a huge problem in a lot of houses? And what if I told you there's a much smarter, faster, and even cheaper way to keep your home healthy? Let's break it all down.
Okay, so first things first. Let's talk about the problem itself. What are the warning signs? How can you even tell if your ventilation habits are, a little bit off?
It usually starts with what people call crying windows. All that condensation dripping down the glass. But if you ignore it, it can lead to damp patches on your wallpaper, or even worse, those ugly and super unhealthy dark spots of mold. You often find them in corners or tucked away behind furniture. This is basically your house screaming, "Hey, there is way too much moisture trapped in here."
So where is all this dampness even coming from? It's probably not a leak, no. The real culprit, well, you can't even see it.
It's called water vapor. Every single day, we fill our indoor air with this invisible moisture just by living our lives. Now, the moisture itself isn't the big bad guy. The problem is what happens when all that moist air hits a cold surface. Here's a great way to think about it. The warm air inside your house is like a big, thirsty sponge. It can hold a lot of that invisible water vapor. Now, the cold winter air outside, that's like a small, wrung-out sponge. It can hardly hold any moisture at all. So when your warm, soggy sponge of indoor air touches a cold surface like a window, it cools down really fast and is forced to squeeze out all that extra water. And bam, that's the condensation you see on your window.
And we produce a surprising amount of this stuff. A single shower can release a huge cloud of steam into the air. Cooking, especially boiling pasta or making soup, adds even more. Heck, even your houseplants and the simple act of breathing are contributing to the moisture load inside your home's air.
So, if just living our everyday lives is what creates this problem, what's the solution? Well, you'll be happy to hear it's surprisingly simple and it takes less than 10 minutes. The proper technique is called impact ventilation, or Stoßlüften in German, where they're basically pros at this. The whole goal is to do a rapid, complete exchange of the old, moist indoor air for the fresh, dry outdoor air without cooling down the actual structure of your house.
And the process is incredibly easy. First, turn off your radiators or your thermostat. You don't want to be heating the great outdoors, right? Second, open your windows all the way. And I mean wide open, not just tilted. If you can, open windows on opposite sides of your home to create a nice cross breeze. After just 5 to 10 minutes, close them up and turn your heating back on. That's it. Now, the beauty of this method is that you're only swapping out the air, that damp sponge we talked about. All the heat that's stored in your walls, your floors, and your furniture stays put. This means the room feels instantly fresh, but it warms back up really quickly and efficiently once those windows are closed.
Okay, so how often should you be doing this? Well, the ideal frequency is about 3 to 4 times a day. It's especially important to do it first thing in the morning, after you cook, and definitely after you take a shower, since that's when the moisture levels are at their absolute highest. All right, let's circle all the way back to that tilted window we started with and break down exactly why it's such a bad idea. This part is really crucial. This is the trap. See, a tilted window just creates this tiny, constant draft. The air exchange is incredibly slow, and it's pretty much useless at actually removing moisture. But you know what it is really good at? Constantly chilling the wall and the floor right around the window frame. That cold spot becomes a magnet for condensation, which actually increases the risk of mold right where you thought you were helping. And all the while, your heating system is fighting a losing battle trying to warm up that constantly chilled area. It is a massive waste of energy and money.
The takeaway here could not be clearer. Avoid that permanent tilt. Instead, embrace the short, wide open burst of ventilation. I know it might feel a little counterintuitive to throw a window wide open in the winter, but it has proven to be far more effective and way more energy efficient.
So now that you've got the main technique down, here are a few extra pro tips to help make your home even healthier. First up, make sure air can move around freely. Try to keep your large furniture, like your sofa or a wardrobe, at least 10 centimeters away from any exterior walls. That little bat prevents damp air from getting trapped back there, which is a super common cause of mold. Be strategic about it.
The moment you step out of the shower is the perfect time for a quick 5-minute impact ventilation session in the bathroom and get that huge cloud of moisture out of your home before it has a chance to spread around and settle somewhere else.
And be mindful of the really big moisture sources. Drying a full load of laundry on an indoor rack can release several liters of water into your air. If you absolutely have to do it, try to place the rack in a room where you can ventilate frequently and really well.
And finally, don't let your rooms get too cold. I know it's tempting to save on heating, but colder surfaces just attract more condensation. So you want to aim for a comfortable room temperature in your living areas and maybe something slightly cooler in the bedrooms just to strike the right balance.
So really, the key takeaway is simple. This isn't just about comfort, it's about being efficient and looking after the health of your home. Proper ventilation saves energy, it improves your air quality, and it's your absolute best defense against moisture damage and mold. It's a really simple change in your daily habits, but it makes a world of difference. So go on, ditch the tilt, embrace the blast, and enjoy a fresher, healthier, and much more efficient home. So, which window are you going to open first?